A few months ago, you came along with me as I sat on the left side of the plane for LaGuardia's tennis climb. This straight-out climb was followed by a left-hand turn where I overflew the final approach course to runway 22 and got some really great views of Manhattan Island, as I had anticipated. This channel has got LaGuardia covered, so today my flight will fly on LaGuardia's tennis climb, but I chose a seat on the right side of the plane, so it's the same climb out, but a different perspective. Coming up right now here on Peter Masella. That's it! That airplane just took off on runway 13 and is flying the tennis climb. That means straight out, runway heading for a few miles, then a left turn to the northeast. We'll be there together soon. I love preparing for my flights by being under the flight path before I take off. I'm making the most out of my trip because I'm once again on Endeavor Air Flight 4922, but each trip is different. My most recent experience on Flight 4922 had a 6-hour delay with a return to the gate. Check out that video posted in August of 2023. Spoiler alert, this flight will be pretty normal with a slight departure delay, but we'll have an on-time arrival to Jacksonville. Let's go inside so we can go flying. It's all about the right side of my CRJ-900 as I prepare for departure. Today I've got a seat in the first class cabin well ahead of the wing for unobstructed views, and I can't wait to make it there, so I'm making my usual progress through Terminal C to get to runway 13. Are you ready to join me? 4922 is delayed today. But it's only a 19-minute departure delay. Not a big deal. There's no lineup of flights today as all departure fixes are open. The old Terminal D is almost gone. I love documenting the progress of the Delta Gate area. We're nearing the completion of the demolition of the 1982 Terminal D. My gate today is in the concourse of the far eastern part of Terminal C. This is one of my favorite concourses in Terminal C. Only regional jets operate out of this concourse, so if you're scheduled to fly on a, say, A321, you'll have to walk over here if you want to check it out. And it is worthy of a visit because of the large windows on both sides of the concourse. On the concourse's east side, there are eastern-facing views over Flushing Bay where I can see departures on, you guessed it, the tennis climb. This is how the climb works. Just follow this airplane. It's on the tennis climb, which calls for the airplane to climb on a 134-degree heading while not exceeding 220 knots. This brings planes out over the Flushing neighborhood of Queens. While on this heading, the pilot needs to be prepared to turn to the left to intercept a course of 50 degrees to Jutes, which is located roughly near Great Neck in Nassau County. Once reaching Jutes, an 11-degree turn to the left is made to Tennis, which is near Great Neck, also in Nassau County. The first left turn for this plane is commencing right now. Once level on the 50-degree heading, the plane will be headed to the northeast. The plane is allowed to exceed 220 knots after Jutes, but must comply with general speed restrictions after that. The initial assigned altitude for all aircraft to climb to is 5,000 feet. Here's another aircraft on the tennis climb in a more zoomed out view so you can see the other side of Flushing Bay, and if you look really carefully, you can see the previous departure flying to Jutes. Today, LaGuardia is launching departures off of runway 13, one right behind the other. However, departures cannot be launched until the arrivals to runway 22 have cleared the intersection. This is the aircraft that I'll be taking to Jacksonville. Here it is, coming in for a landing on runway 22. The goal is for the plane to get here, gate 96, but it'll take a few minutes for the plane to get here, so why not go to the window on the other side of the gate to watch those tennis climb departures off of runway 13. The tennis climb is a departure procedure that's more precise than the climbs that were implemented in the past, keeping LaGuardia departures sufficiently spaced from JFK arrivals, like this flight that we can see approaching runway 22 left at JFK. Once we become airborne today, we'll have a closer view of a flight on this approach. My video from May 28, 2023 has more details about the tennis climb, as well as what the view looks like from the left side of the plane, but today, I'm flying out on the other side for a different viewpoint. So I'm studying these planes here as they climb out straight and then turn left, and that's just what we're going to do when we fly the tennis climb. Here comes my CRJ-900 approaching the terminal to complete its inbound leg. This is a 15-year-old plane that previously flew for Mesaba and Pinnacle. In 2013, Pinnacle was renamed Endeavor Air, and this flight today is operated by Endeavor Air. Inbound passengers quickly deplaned, and before I knew it, I was boarding this RJ. Today, my seat is in the last row of the first-class cabin, and it's on the right side of the plane for the right side view. Now, listening to the current ATIS, or airport information, it's great weather today with good visibility. Notably, the wind is coming from 210 degrees, making runway 22 the favorable arrival runway and runway 13 the favorable departure runway. Let's listen in as we push back.
LaGuardia Airport ATIS information, Juliet, wind 95 wind Zulu. Wind 210 hat wind wind. Visibility wind 0. Two clouds at 5,000. Ceiling wind 5,000 broken. 25,000 broken. Temperature 290. Dew point 17. Altimeter 3007. Remark. AO2 sea level pressure wind 84. ILS runway 22 approaching use land runway 22. Depart runway 13. Vertical laser 3.5 miles northwest of LaGuardia.
Alright, no need to listen to the rest. We know the weather is good and runway 13 is the departure runway, and just by looking out the window at the terminal, we saw that the tennis climb is being used by all flights today. I'm pleased to say that unlike the video I posted on August 19th called LaGuardia's airport delay problem, well, there are no delays today at all from an air traffic perspective. If you haven't seen that video, you've got to check it out. Because so many initial departure gates were shut down, we were delayed for hours. We even had to return to the gate for more fuel. Today, I'm on the exact same flight, Endeavor Air Flight 4922, and all departure gates are open, so we'll have a quick taxi to runway 13. We're all set for taxiing, so let's call LaGuardia Ground Control.
Endeavor 4922, 17 Alpha with Juliet.
Endeavor 4922, LaGuardia Ground runway 13, taxi Alpha Victor Bravo, hold short of Golf Golf.
Alpha Victor Bravo, short Golf Golf for runway 13, Endeavor 4922.
We let the controller know we were on spot 17 Alpha with ATIS Juliet, which we just listened to, and we're told to taxi to runway 13 via taxiways Alpha, Victor, and Bravo, and to hold short of taxiway Golf Golf. We're at the west end of the airport now near taxiway Alpha, but the controller wants us up on taxiway Bravo, so we transition to Bravo via Victor. As we continue down taxiway Bravo, we're asked to hold short of taxiway Golf Golf, which is further down. Departing aircraft are often told to hold short there as it's a pretty busy part of the airport. But as we continue along, the controller sees that there's no need to hold short of Golf Golf. It's a quiet day, and the controller sees that we can taxi all the way up to a point where he definitely needs us to stop, and that's at runway 22. Here's that command.
4922, Bravo Papa, hold short of 22.
Bravo Papa, short 22, Endeavor 4922.
This route on taxiway Bravo has us parallel runway 13. It's so quiet here at LaGuardia today that I didn't even see a single airplane taking off while on taxiway Bravo. This is rare, and it's helping us make up for our slightly late departure from the gate. You never know what to expect when leaving LaGuardia. The last time I did this on flight 4922, since the airspace was basically shut down, we were stuck on taxiway Bravo in a major traffic jam. The problem with LaGuardia isn't the airport itself, but the airspace around it. So you can have a great weather day at LaGuardia and experience a major delay because of bad weather en route over New Jersey, or you could also have a great weather day at LaGuardia and experience no delay due to good weather over New Jersey. The only thing we need to wait for now is a plane to land on runway 22 so we can cross the runway to get to the other side to runway 13. And here comes that plane now. It's an American Eagle Embraer, and as soon as it passes in front of us, the controller clears us across runway 22.
Cross runway 22 on Papa, all the way up.
4922, cleared across runway 22 at Papa.
As we cross runway 22, another American Eagle Embraer was issued takeoff clearance on runway 13 after that plane that landed on 22. As we get closer to runway 22, two airplanes will take off before us, and a seat on the right side of the plane affords a great view of them before we enter the sky to fly the tennis climb. We'll see an American 737 followed by a Southwest 737. The American flight is about to receive takeoff clearance now, and the Southwest 737 will be told to line up and wait. Let's listen into that.
1424 with 170 Fox 17 and 16 left for takeoff.
Cross 13 American 1424.
Southwest 1941, LaGuardia County, 12 line up and wait.
13 line away, Southwest 1941.
All right, with the American clear for takeoff and Southwest going onto the runway, we can work our way to the line painted on the ground to hold short of runway 13. Southwest is issued takeoff clearance after the American 737 becomes airborne, and the next arrival to runway 22, another American Eagle Embraer lands. We're then told to line up and wait.
Southwest 1941, wind 190 at 13, Fox 17, runway 13, cleared for takeoff.
Takeoff 13 South, 41.
4922, LaGuardia County, 12 line up and wait.
It's time for us to enter runway 13 and wait for takeoff clearance. Just like that Southwest 737, we'll be waiting for another plane to land on runway 22, which we can't see from the right side of the plane while on the runway. Once the airplane lands, the tower controller will issue us takeoff clearance on the 7,000-foot long runway. I love looking down the runway, and sitting up front provides a really good view of it. The direction the runway heads is the direction we'll be flying initially once we take off, southeast. There's nothing to do now but just wait for the next plane to land so we can take off. And that process will be repeated behind us, as there's an American Embraer that needs to do the same after we take the runway. This Southwest 737 is about to fly the tennis climb. We're almost there. Now, as we wait, let me prep you for something. The tennis climb is designed to keep us away from JFK airspace, including arrivals to runway 22 left, which has a final approach course that intersects with the runway heading of LaGuardia's runway 13, which is why this climb out has us turn left. Our takeoff will be timed perfectly with an arrival to JFK's 22 left, so we'll get to see exactly what this departure procedure avoids. The airports in New York City are so close together that every turn has an important safety significance. After turning to the northeast, the controller will then have us turn further to the left so we can head on down to our initial departure fix and further south down to Florida. We'll get takeoff clearance soon. Hold tight. It's now time for takeoff clearance as the next arrival, another American Embraer, lands on runway 22 and crosses the intersection with runway 13.
Runway 22, traffic on a 2 mile final, wind 190 jet 11, bus 17, runway 13, cleared for takeoff.
Clear takeoff runway 13, Endeavor 4922.
Takeoff clear 70 LaGuardia, 7, 12 on a command.
Alpha way 213, Brickyard, 437.
We're rolling down the 7,000-foot runway, and my seat on this side of the plane will afford me a great view of the terminal area at LaGuardia, unlike my last departure, which is on the left side where I saw Flushing Bay. I'm especially excited about the progress of Terminal C once we rotate because we'll still be low and we'll get a bird's eye view of the development of the terminal. Oh, the benefits of a right side seat this time. Here's Terminal B with the control tower on the other side of it. Terminal B is 100% complete and consists of 2 satellite gate areas connected to head houses by bridges. It's home to the most airlines at LaGuardia. It's a massive building. Just past Terminal B is Terminal C, which is still experiencing construction on 2 of its 4 concourses. We're about to leave airport property as we start the tennis climb over Flushing Bay, so the tower controller hands us off to the departure controller at a radar facility in Nassau County, New York.
Runway 22, contacting us, departure 120.4, good long.
Departure next 4922, cheers.
As we get a great view of Citi Field, home of the New York Mets, we check in with departure control.
Departure Endeavor 4922. Good evening. 1,300 climbing on the tennis departure.
Endeavor 4922, near departure radar contact, time maintain 12,000.
Climb 12,000, 4922.
We're told to climb to 12,000 feet, which is typical for flights headed to the south, as arrivals from JFK from the west will descend above us to 13,000 feet. We're starting our left turn to 51 degrees to Jutes. This keeps us away from JFK's final approach course to runway 22 left. In the distance on the top left, we can start to see Kennedy Airport. It's the lighter area of land below the Atlantic Ocean, which is behind it. The airport covers 8 square miles. JFK has a much larger footprint than LaGuardia and is really close. A car drive between the two is only around 9 miles. By chance, there's a 787 from Milan's Malpensa Airport coming straight in to runway 22 left. I'm going to quickly switch over to Kennedy Tower as this flight, using the call sign Moonflower, checks in for landing clearance.
Kennedy Moonflower 787, speed 180, 22 left.
Moonflower 787, heavy Kennedy Tower, runway 22 left, clear to land, wind 18013.
Clear to land 22 left, Moonflower 787.
And here's that plane approaching runway 22 left at JFK. This is a perfect demonstration of the importance of the left turn that we made to the northeast. But departure traffic from LaGuardia is light, so the controller has us turn further to the left.
Endeavor 4922, turn left heading 240.
240, left turn, 4922.
So we're not going to officially continue with the rest of the tennis climb because we're told to turn left at 240 degrees. That's southwest and a massive left turn that'll bring us in the direction of White, our initial departure fix to Florida. At our window, we see Nassau County, and somewhere down there is the physical location of the controller who told us to turn left at the New York Tracon. We'll be in this turn for a while and are now approaching the north shore of Long Island. We're flying directly over Manhasset Bay, and at the bottom of the screen we can see Port Washington and Manor Haven. This is a peninsula, and on the far end of the peninsula is Sands Point, an area known for its large estates. The water at the top of the screen is Hempstead Bay, which opens up into Long Island Sound. The Long Island Sound is 110 miles long and sits mostly between Long Island and Connecticut. However, since we're at the western end of the Sound, the land on the other side that we'll see momentarily will be Westchester County and the Bronx. We'll physically be flying over the Bronx as we're in a tight turn that keeps us within the confines of New York City as we turn to the southwest. The Westchester shoreline that we see here is that of New Rochelle, Larchmont, and Mamaroneck, and as we continue while flying over the eastern Bronx, we can see all of lower Westchester County. Westchester County's western border is the Hudson River, and on the other side of the Hudson River is the state of New Jersey. If we were seated on the left side of the plane, we'd be looking back at Queens and LaGuardia Airport. The park on the left side of the screen is Van Cortlandt Park, which is in the northern Bronx, so that helps us identify the Bronx-Westchester border. We're closer, however, to Pelham Bay Park, which is on the eastern side of the Bronx and below us. As we continue, the controller instructs us to contact a second departure controller on another frequency.
Endeavor 4922, contact departure 124.75.
2475, 4922. Cheers.
As we look at the Bronx Zoo and Botanical Gardens in the middle of the screen, we switch radio frequencies to another controller at the Tracon facility in Nassau County. However, I won't be providing any further ATC audio. We have finally reached our assigned heading of 240 degrees, which points our nose directly toward Manhattan, so we'll be flying directly over it soon. We can start to make out the northern reaches of Manhattan, Washington Heights, between the Harlem and Hudson Rivers at the top of the screen. Once we're clear of arrivals to JFK above us, flying at 13,000 feet, we'll be cleared up to 17,000 feet. Sometimes the turn we made after the initial climb out will be wider, and Manhattan will be on the left side of the plane as we'd be flying south over New Jersey, but traffic is very light today as we're in this position. Can you spot the New York City landmarks of the George Washington Bridge and Yankee Stadium? The George Washington Bridge connects Manhattan with New Jersey, and Yankee Stadium is in the Bronx near the Harlem River. We see three separate counties in this view: Bronx County, New York County, and Bergen County in New Jersey. Bergen County will turn into Hudson County as we continue southwestbound. Both counties have a border on the Hudson River. As we move along, we start to get a partial view of Central Park down below. I'm trying to point the camera down as much as I can because our view of Manhattan will be limited. We're headed right toward Midtown, and you can't see what's directly below you, of course. This flight path right over Manhattan is the result of a very efficient airspace today. I've made several videos where the airspace is congested and airspace fixes may be backed up. For example, one time my flight flew to the white intersection, our initial fix. We turned wide around Manhattan, then zigzagged around to allow planes ahead of us to arrive at the fix before us. Today is a completely opposite kind of day. There's no traffic at all. Our waning view of Manhattan features the Upper West Side, and the very last thing that we see in Manhattan are the piers on the Hudson River, including Manhattan's cruise ship terminal. I'm trying to get the most in before we can't see any more of Manhattan. If you look carefully, can you spot a British Airways Concorde on a barge at the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum? After this video was taken, the Concorde was removed for renovation work. The view of New Jersey is the anticipated view for sitting on the right side of this airplane today because we're headed south. In New Jersey, across from the Intrepid, we're looking at Weehawken on the bank of the Hudson River. Below the river is the Lincoln Tunnel, one of two tunnels below the Hudson River transporting traffic between New Jersey and Manhattan. That's one of the things that we can't see from up here. I'm trying to hold the camera so we can see as much of the river as possible, but we're flying over it now, so we see another river beyond the populated area, the Hackensack River. The Hackensack River is named for the city that sits on the river. The Hackensack River is 45 miles long, and it empties into Newark Bay, which contains a very large container shipping facility. It's actually the second largest in the United States, which makes sense considering the amount of people who live here. The bay is connected to New York Bay for entry for ships arriving from the Atlantic Ocean. The bay is considered to be an estuary. Newark Bay has a rectangular shape, and so does the next point of interest that we can see from up here, Newark Liberty International Airport. Newark Airport will be coming into view on the top left. With 3 runways, it falls between LaGuardia and Kennedy in terms of size and handles both domestic and international traffic, with United being the hub carrier there. I'm glad that we got to see all 3 major New York City airports in this climb. Now, did you know that Newark Airport shares many of the same departure fixes that LaGuardia uses? Specifically, the fix that we're using, White, is shared by Newark and LaGuardia departures, so there could be a flight from Newark to our destination of Jacksonville, which is also going to White. This is a reason for airspace congestion. Departing flights may have to rely on volume from other airports, but today, things are moving along smoothly. Let's continue on down to White to get to Jacksonville. Well, that was a great departure on the tennis climb. I'm glad I was able to share it from this side of the aircraft with you. I've got LaGuardia covered in this channel. There's always something different to see. We continued along southbound at our cruising altitude, and of course I took in all the great sights. Great view of Chesapeake Bay today. And it's not just the famous places that I like to identify from up here. This is Dunn, North Carolina. It used to be a turpentine distilling center. Who knew? There can be so much to learn when flying over the USA. And of course there's plane spotting up here, like this Piedmont Embraer landing at the Fayetteville Regional Airport from Charlotte. Above us, this TUI Fly 787 is flying from Melbourne, Florida to Manchester, England, and below us we can see a Spirit Airbus from Myrtle Beach to Detroit. Why would anyone not take the window seat? There's a buildup right over Hilton Head Island. It's smooth up here, but under this cloud, people are getting swamped with rain. But the weather cleared up as we approached the Jacksonville International Airport. We're all set to land. With the help of Jacksonville Approach Control and with landing clearance from the Jacksonville Tower, we landed on runway 26. Well, that was another great flight to Jacksonville. I really enjoyed flying on that tennis climb out of LaGuardia Airport, and I'm glad that I was able to give you the experience from the other side of the airplane. Well, I really hope you enjoyed the flight. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I invite you to click on the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and be sure that I'll have many more videos like this for you in the future. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you on an airplane very, very soon. Hey viewers, pardon the interruption. I really hope you've been enjoying my videos. I strive to put out the best content to make my channel the best aviation channel on YouTube. And did you know that there's a way for you to support my channel? It's called Super Thanks, and it's available on every video that I produce. To give Super Thanks, click on the 3 dots under the video on the bottom right. Then click on Thanks. Use the slider to select the amount you'd like to give, then click Buy and Send. Sending levels start at just $2. Everything that you send from Super Thanks goes right back to this channel to make it the best channel out there. Thanks, everybody.